Coming to you from deep inside the bowels of a great big empty. Get ready for another episode of The Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
And that was Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show, and I'm your host, Skip Coryell, author of 22 books, Marine Corps veteran, founder of the Second Amendment March, proud father of 7, grandfather to 20 and counting, and as a special bonus, I'm also madly in love with my own wife. My priorities in life are God, family, and country, in that order, and I hereby promise to never compromise in my convictions. I may go broke, but I'll never go woke. And joining me today is firearms instructor Ryan Coe from the great state of North Carolina. Ryan, welcome back to the Home Defense Show.
Thanks for having me back, Skip. It's always fun to be here.
All right, why don't we start? I mean, you've been on the show many times, but start out with tell us about your company and the training that you provide.
Yeah, so I own Apex Defense Group out of North Carolina. We're a large training company. Have a lot of SWAT, law enforcement contracts and trainings. Teach a lot of civilians. I think last year we right at 970 open enrollment spots filled, and then our military, law enforcement, corporate side of things is probably just as busy. So we are very blessed in that way. A lot of awesome training, firearms, hand-to-hand, CQB, vehicle defense, survival, all those good things. We try to be pretty comprehensive.
Well, a thousand students a year, that's pretty good by any measure. And if you weren't good at your job, people wouldn't be lined up like that to have your services. So, hey, good job on that one, Ryan.
I appreciate that.
All right. Well, hey, I want to talk today about everyday carry guns. All right. And everybody has a different opinion, a different idea, likes and dislikes and all of that stuff. So why don't we start by let's just share with each other what is your current everyday carry gun, Ryan?
Yeah, so I carry two different pistols depending on time of year, clothing selection, etc. One is a Glock 19 and one is a SIG 226X carry. And so I tend to go back and forth just based on wardrobe and time of year and all that stuff.
Yeah. Isn't that it's not funny, but everybody is like that, right? I'm the same way up here in Michigan, and the weather sometimes it dictates, the gun that you carry because of the clothing that you're wearing, in that particular season, right? And I'm the same
Yeah.
way. I mean, in the like the fall, winter, and spring, when the temperatures are milder, I can carry a larger gun because it's easier to conceal, and all of that. And I have a Glock 17 for that. Really nice gun. It's a custom Glock 17 made by Gabe Suarez out in Prescott, Arizona. And I love the gun, but it's big, and so it's a lot harder to conceal. So in the summertime, I don't use that one at all. But
Right.
what is it that you like about the guns that you carry?
Yeah, so that's just based on work experience, professional experience, teaching experience. My teaching handgun normally is a full size 226 Legion, and then my competition gun is a custom Glock 17. So very similar. So these are both just smaller versions of pistols I've carried and shot a lot. Depend on but the Glock 19, it's simple. It's just iron sights. It's built for the summertime when, you're in the t-shirt and shorts, and it's just so much more concealable. It's just a standard 19 with just some night sights, versus the 226 X carry. It's got the flashlight and the enclosed emitter red dot, and it's I can get away with carrying that to church, or it later fall, winter, earlier spring, like you were saying, especially here in North Carolina where the weather's kind of crazy, and so I bounce back and forth. But I love the 226 just for the trigger, and it's what I was used to for years and carried for years. I was just a 226 and teach with. So I put probably 20,000 rounds a year teaching through a 226. So it's just a slightly smaller version. Um, and so love that for the familiarity trigger and everything. How I drive it, I dry fire with it, consistently, and then same thing with the 19. It's a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, and just the reliability. It just goes bank. It's awesome for reliability.
Yeah. So, okay, how many years have you been carrying?
11 years.
11 years. Okay, the guns that you're carrying now, are those the guns that you started out with?
I always used to carry a 226. It was just small or large, and so in the summertime, I would carry a Glock 43X, and ended up just going away from those probably 5 years ago due to mag capacity. I carried the SIG 365 macro for a while recently, before the 226X carry came out, in the last year. But my hands are just really large, and so my thumb would come scarily close to the comp on the end of
Oh,
the
wow.
226, the 365. Yeah, and so my thumb would ride right at that forward expansion chamber, and I got burned quite a few times, and so I said, well, I'm gonna go back to the 19, and then Sig came out with the
Yeah.
226 X carry.
You must have like Sasquatch hands, huh?
I know. My thumbs are just long. That's all.
Well, you can have those trimmed. I'm not sure your
I've thought
HMO would
about it.
cover it, but oh yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
just yeah, one squirrely afternoon in the living room.
Yeah. Well, what are if there is an ideal caliber for everyday carry, what would it be? Or maybe you could rank them and give me your reasons. Give me this. Let's do a discussion on that.
Yeah, so I'm a huge proponent of 9 millimeter. I do think it's all around the best carry cartridge just due to versatility of ammo, due to magazine capacity, recoil. I do think it is the supreme. I did a lot of contract work back in my professional career, years ago, and we got to do all kinds of fun ballistics testing, consulted for some of the gun industry, and I've watched 380s bounce off of wool trench coats and windshields. I've watched 38 specials bounce off of windshields and things. So I'm a little more particular about carrying a 9 mil versus like a 380. And then I find students that run 45 usually have, unless they just train with it a lot, they have a harder
Yeah,
time keeping up with the 9 millimeter students.
yeah. Well, when I first started out, I've been carrying every day for like 25, 26 years. And before that, when I was in the Marine Corps, way back then, they were still carrying 45s. And I was not a fan of the 45 1911, but it was primarily because they're big, they're heavy, there's a lot of recoil, and I'm a recoil sensitive person. And so, I don't like huge recoil in a pistol because I can't seem to shake shooting low because I'm anticipating the recoil all the time. And it doesn't seem to matter how many times I dry fire. As soon as I put 3 rounds, live rounds through, it's like my subconscious brain takes over and it just starts pushing against that gun again. So my career has gone from 45. And then when I got older, I went down to a 40. And then for quite a few years, I shot a 9 millimeter. And now I'm 68 years old now, losing muscle mass, all that stuff. So recoil bothers me even more. So about a year ago, I went to 5.7 millimeter. and I I shoot that one the most accurate of any of the calibers that I've ever shot. Anything that I would consider carrying, for defense. But what I know, some people are sensitive to recoil. Maybe they have weak hands, short fingers, whatever. For someone who is challenged in that way, do you have any tips for them?
Yeah, so I will say, Skip, I my parents are both getting older. They're mid to late 60s. Eyesight's muscle mass, starting to go, and
Hmm.
they both are I have them set up. They both carry a 5.7. And so it's funny that you say that because that is exactly what I sent both of my parents to when they were getting about your age, hitting the same roadblocks. So that's funny. We think alike. Um, as far as tips and tricks, yeah. So putting large muscle mass behind the gun. So I call them pins of leverage. A lot of shooters they rely too much on hand pressure to control recoil and muzzle climb. Both of those are different. Recoil is backwards pressure. Muzzle climb is upwards pressure. For those who are listening who aren't familiar with the different terms. And so a lot of times we try to squeeze the gun tighter, and in reality, I can bench press much more than I can squeeze on a grip strength machine. And so a lot of times squeezing the pistol harder is not the right answer. Or trying to get your grip so important. Don't get me wrong, but pins of leverage as far as large muscle mass. So being able to not squeeze the pistol with your fingers and with your hands, but putting biceps, triceps, pectoral muscles into the gun. And so we do that on our presentation when we press that gun out. It's how we essentially use our pins of leverage in the back of the frame of the pistol. And then a lot of shooters like shoot low, for instance, if they would give me a little bit more heel pressure in their hand. A lot of times that low can be overcompensated by a little bit more heel pressure. Too often we put our grip really high on the gun and we negate the bottom of the gun, but the heel of the pistol is really important. And things like more pressure with your index finger on your support hand on the trigger guard. There's some tips and tricks for that, but bone structure behind gun is probably the most important. A lot of shooters have those flared elbows and things, and so we really want bone structure for recoil as close to the center line of that firearm as possible.
Hmm. That's interesting. Do you have anything on your website or out there on your social media? I was thinking perhaps a video that would demonstrate what you're talking about that I can link to in the podcast.
I can absolutely put one up. We don't have any
Okay.
posted, but I can absolutely put one up.
Yeah, if you get that to me, Ryan, because it's some people are visual, and so to explain it verbally, they don't quite get it. But if we explain it verbally and show them, I think they would. I think they would get that because, here's what I've found is the number one shooting problem that my students have, and just to give you an idea, most of my students are either beginning to intermediate. Their biggest shooting problems are are shooting low.
Sure.
And what is your experience with as far as the biggest shooting problems that people have?
Yeah, low and low left are the two most common. And again, most of that is low left is usually too much pressure in your fingertips on your firing hand when you anticipate. And so a key point I always try to drive home is firing hand grip pressures is always 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. But too often we squeeze it like a soda can. When we crush a soda can, we start with our fingertips.
Hmm.
And so a lot of times when they anticipate, they tighten that grip, but they do it at their fingertips. It's human reaction. That sympathetic squeeze response is done starting at the fingertips. And so a lot of times that low left is exactly that firing hand fingertips tightening. And so we negate that by having that support hand come up higher, tighter, and then by using that crush technique 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock with their firing hand.
Yeah.
Those are big ones.
Yeah, and that's why right-handed shooters shoot low and to the left, and left-handed
Sure,
shooters shoot low and to the right. It's
absolutely.
it's predictable. It's kind of the way God made your hands. All those fingers work together
Right.
sympathetically.
Yeah.
Um, well, you piqued my interest when you talked about the 5.7. Was it your parents you said?
Yeah, I turned them both onto those, and they are now set up with their 5.7s. Yeah.
So which 5.7 did you point them to?
We went with the FN just because it's what I have the most experience on. I also have the 5.7 FN 5.7 and the PS90 and all the fun guns to let the nephew shoot.
Hmm.
But yeah, the FN version.
Oh, okay. All right. I haven't shot the FN. I have a Ruger 5.7.
Okay,
And then about a month ago I bought that new Keltec PR-57.
sure.
Um, and I tell you, there's a story behind that because when you go online, on YouTube and you just search on the Keltec PR-57, you will get reviews that are all over the board on that. It's like some people say, what's the best thing since sliced bread. Others will say it's from the devil, and what I bought the gun simply because I wanted something really light with low recoil with a slender profile, something with a high round count. I didn't care so much about an extra magazine because I figure if I can't do it in 21 rounds, I'm probably not going to do it or I need to practice more. But the one thing that concerned me were the reports of reliability issues as far as
Right.
jams. And boy, I found a video that where they put 500 rounds through a new Keltec PR-57, and what they found is that the first 100 rounds it jammed a lot, and then after that, it started to jam less and less and less and less. And when I bought the gun with mine, the first 50 rounds it jammed almost every single shot. And I'm thinking, oh man, I just wasted $400. But after 100 rounds, it was less and less and less. And now when I shoot it, I mean, it doesn't jam any more than a 9 millimeter does. So I'm happy with it simply because it's a gun I enjoy carrying every single day. It's just comfortable, is all get out. And now the ballistic gelatin tests are pretty good as well. Um, but it does. I have a little concern in that not a lot of people have shot people with them, so we don't have a lot of historical data to go on as far as stopping power.
Well, that was my initial concern, and we've not had any tested in our vehicle courses just because we do this for law enforcement, SWAT teams, and most, we don't have any agencies running them. However, what kind of sold me on that for the parents is in terrible example, but the Fort Hood shooter,
Oh yeah,
he
yeah.
used a 5.7, and everyone he shot center mass one time died.
Hmm. It's supposed to
Which
get really good penetration.
yeah, horrible example. Horrible example. As far as an American tragedy. But looking at, like you said, people haven't really been shot by them a lot. But he used one, and everyone he shot, in the abdomen with one shot died. And so I thought, okay, does have a lot of good kinetic transfer of energy. Secret Service CAT team runs the PS90s in their vehicles, and so they did a lot of extensive testing on them too. So I don't really mind that caliber. I would like to see how it does against things like windshields on
Hmm.
vehicles and things. And I think maybe I'll bring mine to the next vehicle defense class. I might test that out.
Oh yeah, let me know what you find out about that.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, there are some downsides to the 5.7. I mean, cost for
Sure.
one thing. The I think it's a lot. It's right about 50 cents a round right now. which is a lot more than a 9 millimeter. So if cost is an issue, that's something. But quite frankly, if I didn't have trouble with recoil, I would just stay with my 9 millimeter because it's just so universal. It's like the standard caliber.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well, let's transition over into carbines then. What kind of carbine do you like for home defense?
I run one in the vehicle. I have a rifle safe in the vehicle. I don't believe that vehicles are safes themselves, but if you are going to store a firearm in a vehicle, have some type of legitimate, not off of Amazon, safe installed into your vehicle. So I do carry one in the truck. It's a Daniel Defense Mark 18.
Mm.
And then my home defense preferred rifle that stays, close by. It's a Knight's Armament 9.5 inch 300 blackout.
Ooh,
So I like the 300 blackout inside, subsonic suppressed inside the houses.
okay. Um, Tell me about the your vehicle safe.
Yeah, so it mounts underneath the back seat through the frame of the vehicle. It was made, had a buddy make it, AR steel. And so there are some good companies that I can send you that do make some decent vehicle safes. But I figure if I'm grabbing a rifle, it's not going to be a robbery at the Sheetz gas station and I need a gun now, kind of
Hmm.
thing. It's going to be I travel a lot teaching, so I'm on the road 3-4 hours at a time. It's there if I need it scenario. Such as if I did have to abandon the vehicle or something of that nature, catastrophic. It's just their little peace of mind. But number two, I've used it more times going out on the range, teaching a student, one on one, and all of a sudden their rifle goes down, and I'll go, oh, well, I got a spare, and so it's just as much for that as it is, the poop hits the fan scenario.
Yeah.
I'll grab a spare rifle out, or on the range, and the girlfriend's like, wait, I want to shoot too. Okay, honey, well, I got an extra rifle here, and so you go and pull your. I do it more for that kind of thing than I would ever think about, Red Dawn situation. So I do keep one around. We'll go to different police departments and doing a handgun class, and all of a sudden they're like, "Well, let's get out rifles for a minute." Okay, cool. And so then I'll have a rifle. And so that's really more so what it is. And then, of course, peace of mind that it is there should I need it,
Yeah.
I'm 4 hours away and something happens.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. There in North Carolina, you are, man, you border like what, Tennessee and uh
Virginia, Tennessee,
Virginia,
South Carolina.
Georgia. Uh,
Georgia's, yeah, just below South Carolina. Yeah, but Georgia, I can get to Georgia in, 4.5 hours or so. Yeah, a little bit less.
so is that pretty much where you do most of your traveling?
Yeah, Virginia. I've got guys in South Carolina and things. We've got 9 guys on staff, but I do my traveling North Carolina, Virginia, and so there's plenty of places that we go where even in North Carolina, we're 3 or 4 hours. It's a pretty large state, but I'll be 3 hours from home teaching a police department or something,
Hmm.
pretty regularly.
Um, I'm hearing all kinds of horror stories coming out of Virginia as far as gun laws
Oh
being
yeah.
passed. Have they passed yet, or they're still in the works? Do you know?
They have passed. There's a couple that did get dropped, but the ones that have passed is no sales of, and I quote, assault weapons and magazine capacity limitations to 15 rounds. That will go into effect, I believe, July. And so that's going to greatly impact ammunition tax of 12%, gun tax of 12%. We luckily they're grandfathered in if you already have it, and so
Mhm.
we can still go teach a normal class up there. And so it won't affect anybody that we're teaching unless you don't already have the equipment needed.
So basically, if you live in Virginia, you need to run out and whatever gun you want, you need to buy it now.
Yes, stock up on a bunch of magazines.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm. Well, that's sad. But hey, I'm here in Michigan. We have an anti-gun state senate, the our governor, and they've been trying to ram down, quote unquote assault weapons bans down our throats for the last 4 or 5 years.
Hmm.
And man, you just got to stay vigilant. I know people don't like to get involved in politics, but if we don't get involved in politics, then it's like the people that are diametrically opposed to us, they're in charge, and we have to live with whatever they want, and I do not want to live with that.
Exactly. Yeah. I think like on the topic of caring, number one, good training, good situational awareness. That just means being a prepared citizen. That means being involved in politics and in your communities, having good hand-to-hand, combat skills, having a good dry fire routine, um, you know, things like have a good blade, have medical equipment on you and accessible. I carry a tourniquet, hemostatic gauze, and a pressure dressing on me every day, but there's med items that stay in the car readily accessible. Have a good flashlight, have a good holster. There's just so much that goes into truly being the difference between a concealed carry holder and a true person that carries.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that mindset.
Yeah, you kind of want to be a complete warrior, in all those
Exactly.
things. Yeah, that's great. All right, well, Ryan, we're about out of time right now.
Sure.
But before you go, tell people where's your website? How can they find out more about you?
Yeah, you guys can go to apexdefensegroup.com, or you can check us out on Facebook or Instagram, Apex Defense Group.
All right, awesome. Well, Ryan, thank you very much for being on Home Defense Show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Skip. It's always a fun time.
Alrighty. Okay, folks, that about wraps it up for this week's show. I've had a good time and I hope you have too. Please don't forget to thank our sponsors, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range at centershotgunrange.com, shootingclasses.com to help you find the right trainer for your needs, United States Concealed Carry Association, and Trinity Training and Security. All right, I've written 20 plus books and they're all available on Amazon.com in paperback, ebook, and audiobook. This week, check out my book, Civilian Combat, the Concealed Carry book. I think you'll like it. And if you want training from me in person, then check out Midwest Tactical Training at shootingclasses.com. Please join us again next week for all your home defense needs. In the meantime, God bless and stay safe.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Home Defense Show. Now, get out there and protect the ones you love. We'll see you next week with more of the best.
Bye-bye, boys!
Have fun storming the castle!
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
At Center Shot Gun Range, we are passionate about training. Don't know where to start? We offer a 1-hour new shooter seminar to introduce you to the world of firearms and help you find training opportunities specific to you. Concealed carry, home defense, firearm safety, AR-15, private one-on-one training, custom training, or maybe you're on a security team looking to protect your church or business. We even offer weekday morning and evening classes. Center Shot Gun Range has you covered. Start your journey at centershotgunrange.com.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
Attention business owners. Are you leaving your website open to security issues and hacking due to a lack of maintenance or overseas outsourcing? Don't let that happen to your business. Choose experienced U.S.-based website developers that can customize your website to fit your specific needs. Appletree MediaWorks has been growing businesses online since 2009. With over 80 years of combined experience, their team conducts constant research and development to keep up with ever-changing online threats. Your website deserves the best protection available. Call Appletree MediaWorks today at 877-977-1364 to keep your website secure and grow your business online. Or visit appletree.media.
Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If this sounds good to you, you sound good to me. And I'd like to help you do those things. Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If you're looking for more excitement in your life, we have nothing to offer you. But if you are a thoughtful, responsible, nonviolent man or woman, we'd love to teach you what to do if something crazy happens. More importantly, we'd like to teach you what not to do. We currently have over 500,000 members. They are doctors and single moms and firemen and grandmothers and veterans and Democrats and Republicans and members of every faith. But the one thing they all have in common is that they know exactly what to do if something crazy happens. When you're with one of our members, you are safe. Our members know how to de-escalate situations. They know how to calm things down. We are the United States Concealed Carry Association. See what we're all about at usconcealedcarry.com.
Discover the little-known backstory of the U.S. Concealed Carry Association at usconcealedcarry.com.